This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Opposition parties are accusing the state government of inaction, while other states reap the rewards of multi-billion-dollar infrastructure spends in last night's budget. But Premier Will Hodgman says anyone who suggests Tasmania is being left off the map by the Turnbull government is either dishonest or delusional.
The Premier has welcomed last night's budget for its lack of surprises, saying much of Tasmania's funding promises were finalised and announced already. They include a lump sum payment of $730 million for the Mersey Hospital and the latest instalments of Midland Highway and Tasrail maintenance money. But advocacy groups say much of the budget was a fizzer, with housing initiatives such as the superannuation saver scheme unlikely to help low-paid workers. For those on welfare, Kim Goods says they're going nowhere.
We're really concerned at the cost of living increases, particularly in rent, but New Start payment and some of those income support areas that people rely on remain the same, and they are inadequate in terms of a decent life.
For a budget big on transport infrastructure spending, including billions for passenger rail interstate, those pushing for a light rail in Hobart claim their project has been ignored by both the state and feds.
Again, Tasmania misses out. Rollover Reen has failed to seek any money from Canberra for Hobart's much-needed rail project. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, any reasonable person would think 6 million trips a year plus thousands of long-term jobs would be well worth that small investment.
The Premier insists his government isn't against the idea, but more work needs to be done before funding is applied for.
What we've done is keep the rail line open. If we didn't believe it would be possible someday, why would we do that?
Meanwhile, opposition parties say the budget is a squandered opportunity to secure new money for the state's ailing water and sewerage system, particularly in Launceston.
It's just one example of where the Hodgman Liberals have clearly failed to represent Tasmania at the table.
It comes as the Treasurer makes a further pitch to Taswater's owner councils, urging them to vote yes to the state government's takeover plans tomorrow. As for the funding, he says he's more than happy to go it alone.
As I made perfectly clear with local government some months ago, we need to fix this problem ourselves. We have the resources to fix this problem ourselves, and that's why we're getting on with the job.
It seems like Peter Gutman wants to pick a fight with everyone except his Liberal colleagues in Canberra. He's failed again to stand up for Tasmania, and it's Tasmanians that are going to suffer.
Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Staff at a Launceston bottle shop have been left reeling after the business was ram-raided by what's believed to be a stolen vehicle on Tuesday morning. Southern Cross News has obtained CCTV of the moment the car smashed its way inside.
Cameras capture the moment of impact when the vehicle collides with the liquor barn at Kings Meadows Hotel. 3 men are then seen running inside. One makes a beeline for the cigarette cabinet, while the other 2 make a dash for liquor. The cash register is pulled out and stock thrown onto the floor. A case of top-end Penfolds wine is attempted to be broken into, but with no success. Moments later, the trio flee the scene in a stolen car.
That car was later burnt out at the grounds of the South Launceston Football Club. It was an earlier model Subaru. Do not believe the Subaru had an immobiliser fitted to it.
The damage from the vehicle fire clearly visible on the side of the clubhouse today. Paint is bubbled and the window pane cracked.
The car has been forensically examined and the car has now been returned to the owner of that car.
Detectives now on the hunt for the 3 men, hoping someone recognises this black hoodie. Police say the incident is under investigation and no one has been formally charged. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers. Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
A 32-year-old man has been charged over a suspicious house fire in Queenstown. Tasmania Fire Service responded to the Inbury Street blaze shortly before 10 last night. Tasmania Police charged the man with 1 count of arson and minor drug-related offences. He was bailed to appear at the Queenstown Magistrates Court at a later date. Some good news now for dairy farmers. Fonterra Australia is offering up to $6.10 per kilogram at the farm gate to farmers producing milk solids for the dairy industry heavyweight in the next financial year. The company says shifts in global demand give it the ability to pay a competitive price, and producers can now plan ahead with confidence. The news comes just days after Murray Goulburn announced it will close its Edith Creek operations with the loss of up to 120 jobs. A group of Tasmanian high school students have been given a crash course in what it's like to drive while under the influence of alcohol and the challenges of texting while driving. The program is part of Road Safety Week and saw dozens of learner drivers test their skills behind the wheel with some interesting results.
Texting behind the wheel is becoming an increasing problem for road safety authorities. Many don't realise just how quickly things can change.
Resounding message as the young people are getting out of the car is we ask the question, is it possible to text and drive? And the resounding message is, no, it's not. And our simple answer is, so why do so many people try?
Students were tasked with making it through this obstacle course in a dual control vehicle, steering through markers and then around a roundabout. One loop trying to text a friend a message, and the second wearing beer goggles.
Simulates through spatial awareness and depth perception what it's like to drive at 0.12, which is way over the limit, and we don't suggest anybody ever try it, but it does give the young people a bit of an idea where you go from zero to such a high level of reading.
The majority of students hit at least 3 cones, and several had close calls, narrowly missing the fence.
You could hear yourself hitting cones, but you still couldn't even feel that you'd hit something. So if you're actually in that situation and you hit somebody, you'd probably just keep driving and not even notice.
My text that I was texting to my mum, it made no sense. Yeah.
A lot of witches' hats lost their lives here today. But if they weren't witches' hats, imagine what could have happened.
Today's program wraps up day 1 of Road Safety Week, aiming to raise awareness of the fatal 5: speeding, drink and drug driving, inattention, fatigue and seatbelts. And hopefully the message gets through.
I think it needs to be done before people get their licence, but yeah, it's awesome, and yeah, it was really a big eye-opener.
Jessica Moran, Southern Cross News.
A plan to link some of Launceston's major tourist attractions via a bridge could be carried out before the end of this year. The Launceston City Council announcing its proposed 120-metre North Bridge development as part of a $9 million project.
A pedestrian bridge from the seaport to North Bank today pitched as the missing link.
They'll be able to go from the gorge to the seaport, across the river, right around the levees as well, and it's going to be fantastic, and especially those that love their cycling and cycling off-road near the city.
The council saying its proposed development would not only ease congestion on Charles Street, but also complement its family-friendly North Bank project.
This bridge will be the connection of that as well, so people will be able to go and enjoy that, and that'll be something that's going to happen in the next year.
Although the council's 4-metre wide truss design is not what Tasmanian property developer Errol Stewart would have liked, the CH Smith site owner says he's all for the connection it will bring, hoping its completion times in nicely with the opening of his unique accommodation venue.
I would have liked to see a suspension bridge to give it a bit of architectural form, and that might add $1 million to the cost, or $500,000 to the cost.
The pontoons have already been moved to make way for the proposed development, which, once underway, will take around 6 months to complete.
Certainly the intention is to have it done by Christmas, but you won't get it done by Christmas unless you start.
The public will soon be able to access the project's plans, with the council hoping to have it approved by July. Jessie Gilmore, Southern Cross News.
The nation's F1 in Schools Technology Challenge champions are just months away from attempting to claim the world title. The all-girl team officially launching its fundraiser for the Malaysian-hosted F1 technology competition today. Despite sitting pretty, the Tasmanian team, made up of students from Queenstown High School, says it's not leaving anything to chance.
We're working really hard on innovating our car and trying something new. And we're just testing as many car designs as we can to get the fastest one.
They've brought in an extra team member to complement what they've already had, and so as a result of that, they've actually grown in their own places, their own sort of portfolios, tremendously.
The team of 6 needs to raise $25,000 by September. The Launceston City Council is confident of a strong crowd at this weekend's Hawthorn and Brisbane Lions clash, with 11,000 tickets already sold. Mayor Albert Van Zetten says over 15,000 people attended last month's Hawthorn and St Kilda game at UTAS Stadium, and he's hopeful of about 13,000 this Saturday.
We really want encouraging people to come out and support it, to show the AFL how important Hawthorn is to northern Tasmania, because we know the AFL do have a history of wanting to get Hawthorn to stay in Melbourne, and we're very much keen for Hawthorn to stay in this beautiful city. They bring so much to our city. We're talking $28 million in 4 games that we have, which is extremely important, and we want to encourage people to come to the game, show your support and get a seat, get a ticket and be involved.
The game kicks off at 1:45. Tasmanian poppy growers have been recognised for their contributions to the state's farming sector, despite suffering several setbacks. The annual Poppy Growers Luncheon saw Meander Valley's David Wishaw and his team take out the Top Crop Award. The farmer humbled by the award and quick to highlight the plight of other farming industries.
We had a record dry year 2 seasons ago and then a record wet year this year. It's definitely had its fair share of challenges, but we've probably fared better than most, and so we're definitely smiling.
The Tasmanian Apple Awards event, also a chance for farmers to take some time out. The declaration of the polls took place in northern Tasmania today following formal proceedings. Launceston's independent Rosemary Armitage says she's still pinching herself after securing another 6-year term. Despite being in the job since 2011, Ms Armitage says there'll be no slacking off.
But I'd like to continue the work that I've been doing, particularly with health, with the hospital, and also we've got the Select Committee inquiry for TasWater, which is really important that we'll be moving along with that.
Meanwhile, successfully re-elected for the seat of Murchison, Ruth Forrest says she's open to running for a 4th term. The independent politician was officially named Murchison MLC for the 3rd time today. Now a look at the day's business and finance, thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has recovered from a poor start to close higher, but most of the big banks still face some pressure after the Turnbull government announced a $6.2 billion levy on the big banks. The ASX 200 index has risen by 35.5 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 73.62 US cents and 67.60 euro cents. A standalone AFLW team may be on the back burner, but our state's under-18 women's team is set to play against some of the nation's best in Adelaide this week. The team is set to take on South Australia and the Northern Territory in the opening round and is already ready to cause some upsets.
The group of young athletes up for a challenge. Coach Trent Bartlett says he's thrilled with the amount of talent in the team and it bodes well for the future of the women's code.
We know we can get our footies in the hand, we can use it pretty well in terms of some of our ball movers, but we also know we can put enormous pressure on the opposition, and that's really, really pleasing.
My brothers have all played football, and it's just a fun game to play. It's fast-paced, and the physicality, definitely taking some pretty hard tackles is a good thing.
Cricket Tasmania has released this summer's fixtures for the Women's National Cricket League, and for the first time, prize money of $250,000 will make a win even sweeter. The season begins on the 6th of October and it's split into 3 rounds.
Obviously coming off the back of the WBBL and the 3rd edition of WBBL, so really looking forward to seeing how the Tasmania Raw go this year after an improved season last year.
On home turf, the Raw goes up against New South Wales on the 16th of February and ACT on the 18th. The season, now in its 22nd year, wraps up on the 24th of February. And the Launceston Tornadoes are back with a vengeance in time for this weekend's match against the Melbourne Tigers. The team coming off a tough loss on Saturday night against the Bendigo Lady Braves.
Having the loss and it being blown out by quite a large margin was disappointing, but I think that we'll be able to come back hopefully stronger and learn from that.
But the team are confident they have what it takes to take it up a notch on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Hobart Chargers women's team are also looking ahead after their loss to the Braves on Sunday.
We're definitely improving, and I think we're a better team than we were last year and probably a better team than our record suggests at the moment.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. Not only is it Road Safety Awareness Week and Volunteer Week, it's also Wear Orange to Work Wednesday in tribute to the SES, the State Emergency Service workers who in their roles put their lives on the line in the worst conditions to help keep our community safe, and they do a great job. Conditions okay today though, although a bit cool in Hobart, 14 degrees, 17 for Launceston, Burnie 16, Devonport 15 degrees. 18 was the top at Eddystone Point, -4 the low at Lyoweeney. Lyoweeney did put on a good show though, reaching 17 later in the day. Flinders Island, Wynyard and Low Head 16, Campania, St Helens, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Medina 15, Strawn and King Island 13 today, and I hope all those on the roads were careful while the foggy conditions prevailed this morning, particularly along the Midland Highway. A cloud band is located over south-east WA. Low to middle level cloud lies over south-east Queensland. You see it there streaming over the Tasman Sea. Most of the country cloud-free apart from southern Victoria and our region. And here's our region in close-up with low cloud covering the state this morning. There was a clearing over most areas as the day progressed. Tomorrow the cold front lies over Tasmania, extending a trough through South and Western Australia. High pressure systems dominate the rest of the country. Western or westerly winds at 10 to 20 knots, shifting southwest to southerly from the west during the day. Tomorrow swells at 3 metres in western and southern waters. Here's how it shapes up. A shower or two. Hobart 14 degrees, Cygnet 14 degrees, New Norfolk 14 degrees with the little wet weather moving in. Late rain for Launceston 16 the top, 17 for Devonport with late rain as well. Late shower for Campbelltown and 14 the maximum. For Burnie, rain later in the day, 17 the high, 14 for Strawn, rain increasing over Smithton with 16 the maximum. And for St Helens tomorrow, a late shower, 16, 15 for Swansea, 16 for Fingal. On to Friday, rain about the north with possible heavy falls, showers elsewhere. Fine on Saturday apart from showers over the east and Bass Strait, and showers for the east, Bass Strait Islands and the far south on Sunday. Partly cloudy in Perth, Adelaide and Cairns tomorrow. A late shower forecast for Melbourne. Frost and fog to start the day in Canberra, but sunny weather for Darwin and Alice Springs. Clear conditions currently in Hobart. It's 9 degrees in Launceston, partly cloudy, and 9 degrees also in Devonport. Rachel, I hear it's beer and pizza night at your place again.
Yes, I've been a bit of a slack mum ready for my little boy's birthday. Thanks for dobbing on me. That's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Good night.